How to deal with FOMO and FUD. If you're an investor, you may know these terms. FOMO is fear of missing out. FUD is fear, uncertainty, and doubt. You see these terms being thrown a lot in the day trading space, in the cryptocurrency space, in like the derivative space. You know, if you're trading like calls on SPY or gold and silver, all these different things. FOMO and FUD definitely come into play. That's why today we're going to talk about Psychoneuroimmunology. Now, this may seem like a lot, but just kind of break it down. Psycho, like psychology, you understand this, kind of like the chemistry of the brain, and then neuro, so your mind, how your neurochemicals work with your immune system. So psychoneuroimmunology. We're going to be breaking this down, what exactly it means, how it plays a massive role in your FOMO and FUD, you know, kind of in your emotional state when you're investing, because this is huge. You know, if you're an investor and you haven't learned that you really have to be able to modulate between, you know, being around family, friends, loved ones, where you're showing your emotions and kind of turning into a little bit of a rational, logical robot when you're investing. Because if you're so emotional about, you know, like cryptocurrency, you know, you're like a Bitcoin maximalist, or you're you're a huge fan of this like altcoin that's it's almost like a religion. It's like an ideology that people are permeating out into the markets. Money should be rational, especially with investing. You know, maybe with a loved one planning dinner or planning to buy your house, your first house, maybe that's emotional. But when it comes to investing, you got to pull out the logical rationality side. And that's really where psychoneuroimmunology comes in, because based on your inputs, it will dictate your outputs. You understand? Like if you're inputting negative news, if you're waking up in the morning, checking your phone and scrolling through Instagram or through Facebook or through your news feed and seeing negative, like, pandemic, blah, 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 like all these different things happening. Yes, these are happening in the world, but they're literally affecting your immune system. And this is affecting your neurology as a whole. And this is why psychoneuroimmunology plays a giant role in how to deal with fear of missing out and fear, uncertainty, and doubt. This is massive. So really the key idea here is to eliminate emotions when in the markets and really bringing out the logical and rationality side. You have to learn to modulate between kind of more of the emotional state and the logical and rationality state. So really two other things before we dive in is, first of all, there's no great tragedy and other people making money. That's one of the massive things. And I think that's the thing with FOMO, you know, fear of missing out. People see like on Instagram, like somebody with like a watch, like a fancy watch. I don't even like wearing watches. I used to, but at a certain point it's like, man, the wealthiest people in the world wear a basic t-shirt, and usually they wear like workout gear. Look at Mark Zuckerberg. You know, he just wears a white t-shirt every single day to eliminate decision fatigue. And I mean, this is huge. I literally tried this out for a while. It actually really, really helps, because the idea here is you have only so much glycogen in your mind that you can expand on hard tasks. So if you wake up in the morning and you're looking at Facebook, you're looking at Instagram, you're expending your glycogen on this. So kind of the idea is like you have a battery each day. Joe Rogan calls this like a bandwidth, okay? You have only so much bandwidth you can use on a daily basis. And let's say you wake up, check Facebook, check Instagram. Then, I gotta decide what outfit I'm gonna wear. Am I gonna wear my Rolex watch or my P-Tech Philippe or whatever? And then am I gonna wear my Gucci bag or my Saint Laurent bag? Okay. Now we got those important things. Okay, now what am I gonna eat for breakfast? Okay, now I'm a little tired from breakfast. By the time you wake up and start the day, you've already expanded all your glycogen. The glycogen should be used on important, hard-to-do tasks. And this is kind of why a lot of people get burnt out, is because they're not realizing that they're expanding all their glycogen. Like for example, if you have a family, I mean, this is almost impossible. That's why I'm trying to reach people before kind of they have these, not baggage, I wouldn't say, but just more complicated life situation. This is very important to kind of set the framework up, so when you are in those situations, you can go, okay, I need to figure my stuff out first. Maybe I need to wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning, meditate, get myself together, set out the plan for the day, and then I can jump into these kind of more routine tasks, because you want to be able to separate, progress from maintenance. This is huge. And maintenance would be things like choosing what you're going to eat, what you're going to wear, blah, 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 these things. Whereas progress is actually building businesses, investing, these different things. So kind of that being said, the no great tragedy and other people make money, you got to stop thinking that way. I mean, like thinking that, oh, this person's wearing a Rolex watch or this person's driving a nice car is absolutely terrible to think that way. It's terrible for your brain, literally. It's affecting your immune system because you're thinking about it and those thoughts compound. It's like a ripple effect. So many studies focus on the release of cytocones in response to both physical and psychological stress. So what this means is when you're physically, so you're like working out, you're running, and your body is stressed. That's actually a good thing. But psychological stress is kind of a different thing. And under normal circumstances, your body actually releases pro-inflammatory cytocones. So cytocones are basically this like a mechanism in your body. You can almost think about it as like a little missile. So it's like a heat-seeking missile, and it goes to these are basically pro-inflammatory, and these actually happen in response to like an infection or an injury. When, like, let's say you scrape your hand and you get dirt in it. Like, let's say you're riding a bike and you scrape your hand and you get dirt in it. Well, these cytocones are pro-inflammatory, and they kind of like, they're, like I said, heat-seeking missiles, and they're running up to this point in your body where you got hurt. And what happens here, and I'm going to relate this to investing, how this all plays out, but it's actually in response to an infection or an injury to help destroy the germs and actually repair this tissue. So when you're physically or emotionally stressed, so this would be a physical stress, you're running, you're physically stressed, but emotionally stressed, the thing is your body also releases certain hormones, including adrenaline, basically, which is epinephrine. I always have trouble saying that, but including adrenaline. So when you're emotionally stressed, so even if you're waking up in the morning and you're checking your bank account or while you're still in bed, I always like to set up a situation where it's like, okay, I'm in the state where I can check this. I can be rational, I can be logical. I'm not gonna freak out. You see, it's the worst thing when people are so emotional with money. Man, it kills me. But you see people like checking their bank account and they're like, oh my gosh, like maybe a friend checks and they're like, oh, I'm so broke, like I have no money. Man, why are you telling me? Why didn't you set up a routine where every day, okay, you have your finger on the pulse of your financial health situation. Every day you set a set routine where you check your bank account, you check your investing accounts, you check your growth accounts, whatever, your commodities, your crypto, whatever you want, real estate maybe portfolio. But you kind of have like a dashboard set up. You have this set up where it's like, okay, I wake up, I meditate, maybe you do a little exercise, maybe you have a smoothie, and then you check these things, okay? But at the same time, every day you check these things. So it's a routine habit. There's rational, there's logic being applied here, not emotion, okay? Not emotion where you're having a coffee with someone and they're like checking their mobile banking account. They're like, oh, I'm so broke. No, it's horrible. I cringe every time that happens. So what's important to understand again is when your body's stressed, it also releases these type of kind of pro-inflammatory hormones, just as they get released when you scrape your palm when you're riding a bike. Remember, these are called cytocones, and these hormones can actually bind to specific receptors that signal for the production of inflammatory cytocones. This is not good. That means you're going to have more inflammation in your body the more kind of stressed out you are because of these things. So again, it's very, very important to understand, okay, let me set some goals. Let me set some goals here, but understand that, no human is infallible, rather. Every human is fallible. So understand that, okay, I'm gonna set these, shoot for saying, it's like shoot for the moon and at least you'll land in the stars, right? So set big goals. And even if you don't hit those goals, at least you progress forward. By not setting any goals, you really don't have any momentum. So you want to kind of have like a magnet, something that's pulling you. And a great way of doing this is, let's say you've been working really hard for multiple months. A great thing to do is having a magnet to pull you forward is maybe setting a weekend retreat. It's good to do this maybe once every quarter if you're an investor and making decent money or an entrepreneur. But once every quarter going, okay, especially if you're just living in one place. Like I really enjoy traveling and kind of exploring emerging market real estate, and currently here in Brisbane, Kosovo. But really, if you're having this kind of life where you're in the same place for the whole year, maybe you have a year rent situation, or you just have a house somewhere, set up kind of these once a quarter, maybe even once a month, little weekend retreats where it's kind of a getaway where you try and don't bring any electronics. Don't bring anything that stresses you out. Just literally bring your mind, maybe someone to kind of chat with, maybe to play chess with, some books, and a notepad. So you can really write out your life, kind of being the general of your life. And this is a very, very important thing that a lot of top business people do. And it's absolutely huge. Bill Gates did this with the Microsoft team, and just bring stacks of books and really just learning, kind of having this this combining effects. There's this great book called Where Great Ideas Come From, and it's kind of this thing called edge effect. So in nature, where the most abundant growth is actually at the meeting of multiple different biomes. So like, let's say we're a foresty area meets a plains type area where it's like hilly, meets like a swampy area, and then maybe there's like a lake. So where all of those meet, that's where the most growth there is in nature, because it's the same with ideas. You know, if the only ideas you have are from, watching whatever you watch on Netflix or reading whatever one book you're reading, man, you're having a limited set of ideas, or just hanging around with, the people that you grew up with or your family. You have a limited set of ideas. You want to expand these. That's why reading multiple books, that's why listening to new things and really trying to learn new things is important, because these all have crossovers. Where this edge effect meets is where you have abundant growth. So this was a little just kind of sit down style video. Let me know if you like this kind of style video in the comments down below. Typically focus on different investment sectors, different investment opportunities. Recently, it's been more focused on crypto just because I think that's where the most opportunity is currently, but I will be covering a lot more kind of emerging market real estate style things, commodities and stocks moving forward. Let me know what you thought about this, how to deal with fear of missing out and FUD. So the key thing is learning how to modulate between these two kind of sets of logical rationality and kind of more emotional side. And understanding psychoneuroimmunology is very, very important. I'll leave some links in the description from maybe some things you can check out as far as psychoneuroimmunology. If you're struggling with this, let me know in the comments. Be happy to help you. Just let me know what you're struggling with. And it's very, very important for investors to understand this concept. So thank you very much for watching. As always, definitely like, subscribe button all, like, subscribe button all, like, subscribe, bell button all, because this is time sensitive content. As always, invest global, and until next time.